What's up, guys? Welcome to Sterling on Cinemas, and that's Cinemas with an S. And today I'll be giving you my review on The Iron Giant as part of my Way Back Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, and this is the review. This is the day where I give you a review on a much older film, and today that film is The Iron Giant. Now, before I begin, if you're new to this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment on the section below, if you may. So, let's get started. The Iron Giant. In this animated adaptation of Ted Hughes' Cold War fable, a giant alien robot voiced by Vin Diesel crash lands near the small town of Rockwell, Maine in 1957, around the time where the Russians launched the Soviet satellite Sputnik. Exploring the area, a local 9-year-old boy named Hogarth Hughes discovers the robot and soon forms an unlikely friendship with him. When a paranoid government agent named Mansley, this man, becomes determined to destroy the robot, Hogarth and beatnik Dean McCoppin, played by young Connick Jr., must do what they can to save the misunderstood machine. How do I feel about the story? Well, The Iron Giant is a film that I will always adore and admire. It is such a timeless sci-fi adventure and a true cult classic for every generation of love. Like, if you're watching this video and you're like, what is The Iron Giant? I ain't never heard of that movie before. If you watch it, I guarantee you'll love it. It's going to be one of the best animated films you've seen. The story is pretty solid from beginning to end. Now, while it feels no different from other sci-fi flicks with aliens from another world, like, I love how they keep certain sci-fi tropes with keeping the story back in the 50s and 60s to keep the tone a bit retro and classy. The invader being confused about his surroundings, just as most aliens are, and the government getting involved and doing whatever it takes to destroy that invader. Now, before I go forward, I would compare this to Bumblebee. I'm talking about that Bumblebee, Transformers Autobot from 2018, the spinoff. And I compare it because while Bumblebee doesn't take place in the 50s, it takes place in the 80s, Bumblebee is a robot who didn't lose his memory, but he lost his voice. And he became an unlikely friend with a human who wasn't 9 years old, but she was 18. And I guess you'll see she was kind of treated like an outcast, but Hogarth here wasn't really treated like an outcast, well, at least at school. But what I'm trying to say is that both Bumblebee and Iron Giant have kind of fair comparisons here, and that's great. But the thing that makes The Iron Giant so lovable is its sense of heart. Like, really, for an animated movie, this movie emotion is not really one of its leading qualities as a film, but it has a lot of emotional moments between Hogarth and the giant. We never really get a clear explanation on where the giant came from, but we do see some flashbacks about him being in combat with a world that looks similar to Tomorrowland itself. Now, when I watched this movie, the times I've seen it more, I've seen it on the VHS version, which is the theatrical version. But if you have it on DVD, or if you have like the Fire Stick, you've probably seen the extended version of it where he has a dream where he is invading a planet that looks similar to Tomorrowland. There's extra scenes that you've never seen on VHS. It is also real easy to forget how hilarious this movie is, and that mostly comes from Kent Mansley's paranoia or overreaction from something that the giant has done. The characters. So the characters in The Iron Giant are pretty memorable, as is with the voice acting. Vin Diesel's voiceover work as the giant is pretty decent, seeing how he also does Groot in the MCU. Hogarth is just an ordinary 9-year-old boy until he meets this giant and teaches him a thing or two about the wonders and dangers of life, such as the value of the soul. The relationship he has with the giant is inseparable and one of the best dynamics in any animated film. Because y'all know how Warner Bros. Does. When they made all their older movies, had some great dynamic between two characters. Kent Mansley starts to get the news out to the government after having 3 eyewitnesses saying the same thing. Now, let's be honest. After you have 3 eyewitnesses saying the same thing about something, you have to believe it. Like, they've all seen the same thing. Every crash site looks the same. Every damage, every piece of evidence looks the same. It is clear that there is only one way this could have happened. And he's having a hard time because only Hogarth and Dean have physically seen the giant. Just like I said previously, Kent is the funniest character in this movie, whether he is overreacting to a situation caused by the giant or his constant provocativeness towards Hogarth. Now, why would you tell folks about a giant robot? You want to tell me something more? Hey, where you going? Squirt, slugger, champ. Hey, where you going? Where you going? Where you going? I'm going out! Now, there isn't a lot to say about the beatnik Dean, but he has perfect voiceover work by Connick Jr. and is kind of like a father figure to Hogarth. Rotten Tomatoes gives The Iron Giant a 96% score. With the stellar voice cast, out of this world tale, and nice animation, Brad Bird's directorial debut of The Iron Giant, and Brad Bird is the same man who brought us great tales like The Incredibles, both 1 and 2, Ratatouille, and Tomorrowland. No wonder he put Tomorrowland in this movie. But anyway, The Iron Giant will go on to be one of the biggest and most popular animated blockbusters of all time, and is a true blast from the past. And I will give it 9.5 SOs out of 10. I love this movie so much. No matter how many times you watch it, that's why it's timeless. For those of you who don't know what the word timeless means, it means it never gets old. It never ages. Like, think of one of the best movies that your parents have showed you, and no matter how many times you watch it, you react to it the same, you love it the same, and you cry during the same moments. That is what a timeless movie does. No matter how many times you watch it, it never gets old. So I'll see you guys next time with my next video. That was my review on The Iron Giant. I hope you liked it. You can let me know what you guys think about the movie if you've seen it. If you haven't, I encourage you to go watch it. And I will see you guys next time with my next video. Peace out.